the Two Idiots Podcast.
Alright, hello everyone. Welcome to the special edition anniversary episode of the podcast. Also known as
Podcast.
the second one. What?
Two Idiots Podcast, the podcast.
Yep, that's the official name. It's not only a podcast, it's the podcast.
Yeah, it's the defining Two Idiots Podcast. I said that because there is someone else who named their show the Two Idiots Podcast.
Oh yeah, there was. And
I know.
forgot about that. I looked it up, but I didn't actually see anyone, so...
I don't think they've actually put up anything within the last year either, though, so we're about equal right now.
Okay, we have a solid market on the idiots podcasting demographic.
Anyway, in case you've forgotten your hosts, I'm Buttsmaster666.
And I am Pizzaguy2020.
Alright, so, Pizza Guy, I know you had a game you wanted to talk about.
I did.
But I have a game I'd like to talk about first, okay?
Alright, so we'll let you start, and then we'll go into mine later.
Yeah, or just ignore yours.
Yeah, we'll just not talk about it.
Since the last podcast, we both have played a certain game, okay?
Mm-hmm.
A certain powerful game that became like an online sensation, right?
Right, I think I know exactly what you're talking about.
And also there's lots of monsters in it.
Mm-hmm.
Alright, yeah, what game am I talking about?
Super Mario Maker.
I was gonna say Pokemon Go, but yeah, yours works too.
Okay, they were close.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Yeah, I started playing Pokemon Go. I think I told you about it. Here's my
You
review
did?
of it real quick.
Mm-hmm.
I started playing because of that, like, walk with your buddy feature, you know?
Oh, yeah, they added that in.
I really like it. That's I haven't actually used it yet. Because, so I put a Charmander in there, like the first thing I caught, right?
Yes, just see you're very good, very far ahead.
I have 15 Charmander candies right now, thanks to the buddy tip.
Okay.
Which, he takes 25 for the first evolution and 50 the second. So it will take me like 30 years to evolve from doing this. But without this feature, I'd have 3, with really no way to get more, you know?
Right, so
what it does
30
for
years
me,
is actually better than never, so...
Yeah, what it does for me is it takes away the, this is totally impossible kind of feel of it, and makes it, this is absurdly difficult, but basically what it did is it made it an idle game.
Yeah, actually, I can agree with that, except instead of idling and doing nothing, you just have to, like, go and walk somewhere.
Well, I just whip it out when I'm walking, like, across campus. Like, when I would be walking anyway, it's just an idle game. I'd say it's powerful, because, like, it takes a lot of power on the phone.
Yeah, it does. It takes a lot of power on the phone.
That was the joke I was going for there.
I haven't actually played it since the introduction of that feature. I just played it, like, a long time when it first came out.
Yeah, like I was saying, I haven't really used it, because I haven't even gotten enough to evolve one Charmander. But I like that it's in the game, because I know that I will eventually be able to evolve Charmander, whereas, like, previously, I probably couldn't.
Right, exactly.
I guess my biggest problem with the game right now is that, where the main series games are, like, catch a Pokemon and raise them and, like, beat up other guys with it, right? Mm-hmm. This one's, like, catch stuff and then throw it away as soon as you catch something slightly better.
Yeah, that is kind of a problem a lot of people have with it. It's that, the best Pokemon are the ones you just recently caught, not the ones you raised up yourself.
Yeah, and I feel like that's a little bit against the spirit of Pokemon.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, what can you do?
Yeah, I think that it's interesting, because they obviously didn't want to compete with the main games. And I think that they did an alright job.
Yeah.
I don't think it was, like, how it was at the beginning, how it was, like, the best thing ever in the entire world. Or how it is now, it's like, oh man, it's so terrible, Niantic is the worst. I think it's like, it's alright.
Yeah. Did you have anything you missed about Mario Maker? Because that was all I had.
No, I was just playing along with the joke. There's a 3DS version of Mario Maker coming out, but
really?
I'm not particularly interested. Yeah.
Okay, so explain me, how does Mario Maker fit the criteria?
Okay, you said it had monsters. They were like Goombas. We did play it after the events of the podcast last time. This is on the internet everywhere, because there are like those videos that are like, don't move course Mario Maker, or like impossible Mario Maker course XX, brackets, this will blow your mind. So it's an internet sensation.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I said it was powerful because it was like, pretty much Nintendo's, I think, like main game of that year, and so it's like that's what kept them afloat. So I think it fit the
You know,
criteria.
that's a good point. When I was thinking internet sensation, I was thinking more like Pokemon Go levels, where it's like you can't not see it somewhere.
That is actually true. Yeah,
But I'll allow it. You're right. Like the Young Senses videos, I'll allow it. Okay.
I mean, yeah, even the Yogscast played some good levels, like Buster's Basement.
Yeah.
It's high quality stuff.
All right. So, since there was only one other video game that matters in the universe, would you like to tell me about it?
Right. I assume
Also,
you're talking about.
while you do that, I'm going to eat this biscuit. So,
Of
I'm
course,
just
yeah,
going to
that's
be
probably a
making
good idea.
gross eating noises. So just, that's probably good.
Yeah, I assume you're talking about the large amount of time I've wasted on watching Super Great Friends playthrough of VLR, Virtue's Last Reward.
Yes, and I do know that in Japan the game had a different name.
Oh yeah, it was a wonderful name. Good People Die. So
Yep.
there you go.
And so I was going to name this
Zero
episode...
Escape, Good People Die.
I'm sorry, I talked over you there. Or Zero Escape, Good People Die?
Yeah, because the series name is Zero Escape, and then Good People Die.
Right. So I was going to name
probably
this
call it
episode of the podcast Good People Die, because I think it's pretty good at representation of the podcast. But Pizza Guy says he's got something better. So
I got one up, and that'll come up a little bit later.
we'll have to see what that is.
Alright. So, basically, I guess I should talk about, like, what the game is.
Yeah, please do.
It's like a visual novel, where these 9 people just kind of get put in this facility, and they have to go through this game to get out.
So kind of like Portal, but way dumber.
Yeah, it's really dumb, and it's not like Portal where it's like actually funny, or it's like, you get this sense of like solitude. It's just kind of like there are a bunch of people there, and they ramble on a whole lot.
Okay, so basically it's like you're at a filming of the Two Idiots podcast.
Exactly, yeah.
Except there's more than 2 people.
So the basic premise of the game is that each person has a bracelet on, and has a certain number on it that ranges from like 0 to like 9, and that's how many points you have. And then you have to get up to 9 points in order to escape the game. And if you go down to 0 points, then you die. And the way you get points is through like a mini game where you're against one other person who's playing the game, and you have to either ally with them or betray them, and doing those two things gets you different options. So if both people ally with each other, then each person gains 2 points. But if both people betray each other, nothing happens. And if one person allies and another person betrays, the person who betrays gets 3 points, but the person who allies loses 2. And so this game keeps being played over and over and over and over until someone has 9 points and leaves the game. Does that make sense, kind of?
What if instead everyone but one guy got down to 0?
Well, here's the thing. If someone doesn't vote, they're immediately set to ally. So if that would happen, then that person could just keep allying and get out.
Okay, so even if the other person's dead, then like they okay. I'm glad
Unless
that's not
no
a
one
problem.
in a group of 2 votes, in which case then everyone dies. So makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, okay, sure, why not?
Yeah, I'm trying to give the footnotes version, so none of this will make any sense.
What's this about groups?
Yeah, so there are 9 people, right? And the premise of it is that you go through a puzzle room. So you go through a room, there's like a puzzle. And 3 people go through 3 different puzzle rooms. And then they go back to the place where you cast the votes, where you either ally or betray. And those groups of 3 people who did the puzzle room together, they're the people who are playing against each other in the game. Except that it's 2 people against 1 person. Because some people are paired with another person, and some people are just by themselves.
Of course.
And then after they do the vote, all of the pair and solo things get shuffled around, so you're with a different person, and then they go into another puzzle room, and then this just keeps repeating.
Alright.
Does that kind of make sense? Like, at least a little bit?
Yeah, now that said, I have seen the first bit of the Let's Play. I even commented on the YouTube video where I stopped watching it. So.
I saw you left a beautiful review that was like, I really hate this game, so...
that pretty much sums up my thoughts, yeah.
Oh yeah, and the way it works is that if someone gets over 9 points, there's a big door with a 9 on it. And
Are you sure it's not a lowercase q?
I know it's not a lowercase q. That was the twist in the last game, that it was a lowercase q instead of a 9. But this is actually a 9. So, one person with over 9 on their bracelet can open up the door, and then the door stays open for 9 seconds. And anyone who has over 9 points can leave. And anyone who can't, or anyone who doesn't. So if you had like 3 points, if you tried to leave, then you'd get killed. So after the 9 seconds is up and the door is open, it closes, and then it can't open again. So theoretically, if everyone waited until everyone had over 9 points, then everyone could leave. But if someone tries to escape themselves first, then only they could leave.
So I'm gonna guess right now that none of the endings involve everyone escaping.
Yeah, okay. I had to think about that.
Because there's an easy and obvious way that everyone could escape, so of course
exactly.
That's not gonna
Basically, the game tries to make it seem like, betray is the only obvious option. But really, that doesn't make any sense, because it's trying to go off of the prisoner's dilemma, which is like the whole situation where it's like, if you turn in your partner, then you get less time, but if both people turn in each other, then you get more jail time. But that doesn't work, because the game is repeated over and over, so anyone who betrays, everyone knows they'll betray, and so they'll get betrayed, and then they'll lose points. So it just doesn't really add up, but you just have to kind of suspend your disbelief for that part.
And also, like, just stop getting mad about it, because, man, I got mad about it.
I got really mad about it, too, but I just eventually got over it. So that's, like, the very basics of the game. And one thing about this game is like a visual novel. Did I say that? I probably did.
I think so. I don't know.
And they are really, really wordy. Like, way too wordy. Like, if you thought what I had said there was rambling, they go on for, like, 2 hours about that.
I remember the bits I did try to watch. Like, someone would explain a concept, and they'd take too long to do it. And someone else would be like, hey, did you get all that? And they'd explain it, and they'd take too long to do it. And then your character would be like, hey, I think I got all that. So he'd explain it, and then...
Yeah, that's a big problem with the game. I think if they had an editor, I could say it was a good game. But, you know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
So anyways, I guess the next part would be explaining the characters, right? Just to get, like, an idea of them.
Yeah.
And you kind of, like, got a little bit of it.
I know there's the one dude who's in armor.
Yeah. So there are 9 people. I'll start out, you're playing as a guy called Sigma. And he's like a college kid. All of these people were just kidnapped by some person in a gas mask.
Named Zero.
Yeah, named Zero. So Sigma was like a college kid, and he was working on a paper, and then he got kidnapped. And his character alternates from being ridiculously dumb to actually, like, having good ideas. And it's really annoying.
Like how so?
Because I think it's due to the fact that you can make so many choices in this game. In some choices, Sigma is like, oh, that's actually a really good idea, and he, like, solves the case.
Uh-huh.
And in some choices, he's just, like, so dumb and oblivious, and, like, doesn't understand anything.
Huh, okay.
So it's really just, it's kind of irritating.
I guess that's a problem with writing a main character, that, like, a playable character, though, because if they have, like, a personality, but then you tell them to do something that they wouldn't do, and it's like, oh, well.
Exactly. And that's why it seems like to me, even though this is supposed to be a choice-based game, there should have been a lot less choices. Because I have a list here. There are 22 endings that Super Great Friend got. Because, like I said, we're getting this all from Super Great Friend's playthrough.
Uh-huh.
But only 9 of them actually matter.
Huh.
And a lot of them are just really pointless and out of character. So it seemed like if they had limited the amount of choices, it might have actually made more sense. But anyways, that's a tangent I'll get on later.
That's a lot like the game Nightcry that Super Great Friends was playing. It's really bad. It's like a survival horror game. But there's like a flowchart where it's like, did you find the wedding ring? And if you did, you go in one flowchart. If you didn't, you go in the other one. And each level has like 3 or 4 branch points. and just about all of them like go to the same ending.
Yeah, there are lots and lots of flowchart sections on this game. That's one thing you'll see.
Like
Yeah,
like the flowchart in the first level of Nightcry, I think it has like 3 split points. So there's a lot of things that could potentially happen. But what happens is one particular route takes you to the next level. Every other one kills you, and it's the same ending each time.
Huh. That's really interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, that kind of reminds me of this, because even if you make a different choice, similar things will happen on all the lines, but not quite the same thing, so you can't skip it, and it's really annoying.
Uh-huh.
Because if you keep playing through the story, basically, and making different choices, and if you've seen a scene before, you can just skip through it. But if the scene is slightly different, so if it's like a different person saying something but it's the same thing, you can't skip it.
Oh, yeah.
So, that can get really annoying. Anyways, so the second character you meet is Fi, who is like I think they said like a 21-year-old girl, so about the same age as Sigma. And basically you know nothing about her.
Uh-huh.
She knows Latin, and that's like her defining character.
What a great character.
And also, she's one of those people who's like, she's one of the very heavy advocates for choosing betray is the only rational option in this game.
Well, that makes sense, because in Zero Time Dilemma, which is the sequel to this game,
Yeah.
Fi is always advocating for really stupid choices and stuff.
Exactly. Fi continues. That's pretty good characterization in Zero Time Dilemma. Fi just chooses really stupid things to support, and is like nearly always wrong, except for the last ending.
But don't spoil it. Alright, go ahead.
Yeah. Anyways, so I guess the next character I'll talk about is the one you mentioned earlier, is K. He is a guy in armor, right?
And just to clarify, that's not his name, that is the letter K, right?
The letter K. Right. And because he has amnesia. He doesn't remember anything. Except for he thinks he remembers something about the letter K. And like I said, he's locked up
that's
in this,
weird.
like...
Because in the sequel, they have a guy with amnesia with a one-letter name also.
That's true.
And
Does
also
it mean anything, or is it just lazy writing?
And also he's wearing something that obscures his face. I think it's just lazy writing.
And I imagine he'll have the same twist, too. Or a similar one.
It'll be the same guy. That'll be the twist.
It'll be the same person.
Uh-huh.
But anyways, K, like, he's wearing, like, it's not medieval armor. It's kind of like, it almost, he has like a toga on over his armor, so it's like Greek. It's really weird. But he also has the bracelet on, and it's connected to his skin, so he can still die from that. It's not like over his armor.
That'd be funny if it was.
Yeah, and he is a really nice guy. He's always just really honest and everything. And he just kind of says everything as it is. Except for some reason, he always betrays people in the AB game.
Huh.
The AB game is that game where you pick ally or betray, so I'm just gonna call it that.
Yeah.
And I don't really understand why. I don't think it really fits his character that well, but maybe it does, I guess, because he does it all the time.
Maybe his movement is impeded by the armor, so he can't hit the buttons very well.
Maybe he presses the wrong button.
Yeah.
Okay. Next character I'll talk about is Clover, who is a returning character from the previous game. Clover was also in 999.
Right.
Except in this game, they pretty much act nothing like Clover in the original game, and also are cosplaying as Pebbles from the Flintstones the whole time.
Was she the mummy?
No, she wasn't the mummy. Alice was the mummy. I'll talk about her next.
Was the mummy. Okay, sorry, I forget who's who. So Clover acts completely different and cosplays as the Flintstones.
Yeah, cosplays as the Pebbles from the Flintstones.
That makes sense. I'm gonna look this up.
Yeah, it really is. Anyways, and she, I don't know. Her character from 999 was kind of like, she was energetic, but also kind of, like, she had plans, like grand plans and everything, and she knew more than she let on, right?
Her last name is Field.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Did you see the Flintstones cosplay there?
Yeah. That's, okay, sure. Why not?
That's never explained why she's wearing that, by the way. Um, but basically, in this game, she just kind of like is there. It seems like they wanted a returning character from the game. There's like, let's pick Clover. She was popular in Japan, right? And then they just kind of had someone.
The wiki explains this. It is mentioned that Clover's agency, the Sois, were unique choices of clothing to deter suspicion away from being members.
Yeah, I'll get to that later, and that makes even less sense. But
so obviously, if you're cosplaying as Pebbles from the Flintstones, you couldn't be in the Sois.
Exactly, the Sois. Do you want me to just tell you about that now, or wait till they're...
No, get through the characters first. We got a good 3-4 hours for this podcast.
Yeah, we're like halfway through with the characters. Alice is the next one. She's terrible. She's like friends with Clover or something.
She's the mummy, right?
She's the mummy. She's dressed up in like Egyptian outfits and everything. And she always has a sense of like, I'm way better than everyone here.
Well, she's the mummy.
Yeah, and it's just super annoying. Everyone hated her.
You might say she's not a super great friend.
Exactly. The chat.
Wait. They hated her more than Dio?
Well, debatably. Dio...
Wow.
I'll talk about Dio next.
Good. I know Dio because he was in Fully Demise.
Mm-hmm. Dio is, like, comically villainous. He's just so obviously a bad guy.
Yeah.
He has, like, a top hat on and, like, wears circus performer stuff. He apparently used to be a ringmaster. And he is just, like... He doesn't even try and hide that he betrays everyone in the AB games. He's just like, yeah, I picked it. Or, like, just blames on, like, oh, Quark was the one who picked it. So he's not trying to hide, like, oh, it was the most logical option. He's just like, yeah, I'm evil. So...
Sure.
And his backstory is better, too. Which is because it's just really ridiculous.
I sneezed. What was that?
Dio's backstory is just incredibly ridiculous, too.
Nice.
So.
Yeah. Dio also has the honor of getting stomped on by Fully Demise in alternate universe.
He does. He made a special appearance in WWE 2K16, 2K15.
I think it was
Super
14.
Friend. I'm not sure which one that was.
I think it was 2K14.
2K14. Anyways, I guess next I'll talk about. There are two characters, Quark and Tenmyoji. I'm just gonna call Tenmyoji 10 because I don't want to pronounce that whole name this whole time.
Yeah.
So Quark is like a little kid, basically. I don't know, he looks about like 10, I don't know his actual age. And he has a really great hat. It has like two big carrying things on the side and just makes no sense. It's wonderful.
I'm gonna look this up.
Quark is... I like him as a character. A lot of people in the chat didn't. He's just kind of like... He isn't involved in the conspiracy stuff. He's just like a kid there, and so he doesn't like have super long explanations of anything. He's just kind of like, oh, this makes sense, or wait, what? This doesn't make any sense.
So the wiki that I looked up to find this picture, that's a cool hat. The description of his quote here doesn't make any sense. I'm excited to see you make that, you display that.
Oh, okay. What is it? Let's get some insight.
He's got this quote, and then it says, I'm not gonna read the quote. And then it says, and then like the dash, like who it's from. Quark, suicidal because of Radical 6, begging someone to kill his body so his soul and conscience can be free.
Yeah, there is that.
So I want to see how this ties in.
That's the reason a lot of people don't like his character, because they think, oh, he's just like a plot point in a lot of the game.
Well, I'm excited to see what that means, because I have no idea.
You'll see. And anyways, 10, he's related to Quark in some way. Quark calls him his grandpa, but we don't really know if that's like actually his biological grandfather. 10 is just really old and really stubborn, and he's great because he doesn't take like crap from anyone.
He just
kind of does whatever he wants to.
That's his character. He's just old. That's his character.
Yeah, that's his character. Is that he's really old, and that he's pretty trustworthy, except for when it wouldn't make any sense to be trustworthy, which I'll get to later. But either way, I like him. 10 is probably one of the best characters in the game.
Okay.
And then the last character that we haven't talked about is Luna, who is just like a really soft-spoken person who they're just really nice the whole time.
She's
like they
wearing
always
something
ally
crazy,
with you.
right?
Hmm?
She's wearing something crazy, right?
Probably, yeah. But either way, she's just like probably the one character that's pretty much what a normal person would do in that scenario.
Okay.
Except, well, maybe like not quite, but anyways, you get the idea. She's the one who wants to get everyone out.
Okay.
And so those are the characters. If that didn't make any sense at all, that's fine. I'm just gonna go through the endings because all of the characters have specific endings, and just start asking questions whenever you want because none of these make any sense at all.
I'm sure you'll do a fine job. Fine, George.
All right, I'm just gonna skip the endings where it's a game over and everyone died, unless it's particularly funny.
Okay.
So the first ending we got was the Clover ending. Okay.
Okay.
And this is where you learn about her being part of SOIS.
Sorry.
Which is like a government agency. Because apparently what happened is that after the events of 999, they found Alice in the desert. And Alice was like some sort of government worker.
Was she the mummy?
Alice is the mummy, yeah.
Okay, so for some reason, I know there was a mummy in the first game, but I forget who the mummy was. So the mummy is Alice. I'll try to remember that.
Yeah, mummy is Alice.
Okay.
So Clover and her brother Snake from the first game, they just go back home, and I think since they got kidnapped twice because they were part of two different AB games, or sorry, not AB games, they were part of two different Nonary games, so they got kidnapped for this whole thing twice. Their parents like hired bodyguards for them.
Okay.
But Clover didn't like the bodyguards, so she and her brother ran away, and she just started working at a diner.
Sure.
And then she was then contacted by Alice the Mummy, because she had like some sort of telekinetic thing. The game calls it she was an Esper, which means that she can transfer her consciousness through the morphogenetic field to Snake.
Of course, yeah.
That doesn't make any sense. Basically, it's like telepathy.
Okay.
And so she was recruited for this government project that's trying to take down this terrorist organization called the Myrmidons. Okay.
While cosplaying as the Flintstones.
While cosplaying as the Flintstones, yeah.
Okay.
Alice is even worse. They look like it's just the stupidest thing. It's like clearly like Egyptian mummy. Gosh.
I'm looking up a picture of Alice while you're talking.
Yeah, it's really stupid. Anyways, but the thing was, when they were invading the Myrmidon headquarters, it turns out it was a trap. And
that costume makes sense, yeah.
Yeah, they were wearing that the whole game.
Why would they not be?
Anyways, so Clover gets captured, but is eventually released. I think. I don't really know why they were released, but they were. And then after that happens, the SOIS get new intel about where the Myrmidons are hiding, right?
Okay, I'm sorry, I stopped listening because I was reading the wiki. So on Alice's page on the wiki it says, despite the similar naming and ethnicity, Alice asserts she is unrelated to the supposed Egyptian mummy of the same name. So I clicked on that link.
Spoilers!
I know, but like, that's right in the header of her thing.
Here's the thing. The game says she's not the mummy. Honestly, with that outfit, it makes more sense that she is the mummy.
Okay.
So in my headcanon, she's just the mummy.
And the mummy is named All Ice because it was preserved in Ice 9.
Exactly, but they just named it Alice instead.
Okay, sorry. That's it, like, right in the front of this thing. Like, they just, like, that's like the third sentence it says about her.
But yeah, the reason I was prefacing it that way as she is the mummy, that's how the game was prefacing it. It was like, here's the mummy from the last game. That was like the intro.
Okay, sure.
So that's why I prefaced it like that.
Okay.
But yes, technically she's not the mummy, but we'll get to that later.
Okay, good. I'll stop checking the wiki because it keeps spoiling things. This is like,
you
what a
need
terrible
to see that
wiki.
stupid outfit, though.
I know. It just gives things away. Alright, so go back to wherever you were before I started reading that.
Yeah. Clover gets captured by some sort of terrorist organization, but then gets let go. And then Clover and Alice eventually find new information about the headquarters of this terrorist organization. But when they're trying to go and get to the headquarters, they get kidnapped by Zero, and that's when they get taken to this game.
Ah, shucks. Okay.
So that's her backstory. If you notice, is not particularly useful to anything.
Yeah, I mean, she does have that, like, morphogenetic field thing going on.
Yeah, there's that going on.
Doesn't seem like she uses it.
Apparently, the reason she isn't using it is because you need a whole bunch of people that can use the morphogenetic field together in a single area, and they, like, power the other one like a battery. So if one person has a stronger morphogenetic field, then they can take the morphogenetic field powers of other people and use them for themselves.
Oh, obviously.
I guess. I don't really know.
That makes sense, yeah.
But anyways, after all that is explained, they find a vial with a medicine in it, okay?
Okay.
And they figure out that this medicine, the way that the bracelet kills you, when you go below 9 points or break the rules, it injects you with a certain drug. Well, first one that, like, makes you pass out, and then one that kills you after that.
Okay.
And they found out that this drug they found is an antidote to the one that kills you. So they can save someone who's dying with it.
Okay.
Sadly, this doesn't get used, because then everyone gets Radical 6 and kills themselves.
Well, obviously. What is Radical 6?
Okay, this is where I'm going to explain Radical 6. Radical 6 is a disease. They found, like, a newspaper about it, right?
Obviously.
And it's a pandemic that may or may not have happened.
But it clearly did because it's a real disease.
Exactly. But the game is prefacing as, like, maybe it didn't even happen, and they made up the magazine, and they just made up the disease for this one test.
Oh. Weird. One second, I got my glasses back on. I'm going to take off my headphones.
Oh, yeah, sure. Alright.
Alright, go.
So, basically, Radical 6, what it does is that it makes you really weary, and then you kill yourself, and that's the disease.
What is disease?
What is disease?
That would suck as an actual disease, because it wouldn't be able to spread at all.
Well, it spreads through the air, though.
How?
I don't know.
If you
This
immediately,
game makes no sense.
If you immediately get tired and then kill yourself, how does that have time to spread?
Well, you get tired for a little while, and then you kill yourself.
So you get tired, so you don't go anywhere, so you don't spread it very far, and then you kill yourself. How does
exactly?
The disease spread?
What a great disease.
Okay, sorry. Go
Apparently,
ahead.
this killed like billions of people.
That sounds about right.
Anyways, so in that ending, everyone dies, and there's just a big, like, dead mess in the infirmary. Except Kay, the guy in the armor, he isn't seen to be dead, so maybe he's alive, but also maybe not.
They just forgot to draw him.
Yeah, that's probably what happened. Okay, so that's that ending. It was kind of one of the more filler endings. Then ending 2 of 9, we're in for the long haul here.
So ending 1 of 9 was we learned Clover's backstory that everyone dies of Radical 6, except for maybe Kay.
Except maybe Kay, so probably a good ending.
What a great ending. Alright, who's next?
The next ending is great because it's Dio's ending.
Yay!
And I think that we were supposed to get this ending a lot later, because none of it really makes sense, and a lot of it is, like, slowly revealed in other timelines first. But whatever, we got it now.
So how do you get the Dio ending, by the way?
They're all different combinations of going through different doors and betraying people.
Okay.
I think that in... let me see here.
It doesn't matter that much. I was just wondering
I think Dio, Phi, and Sigma basically get to the point where they have 9 BP and can escape.
I guess I was asking, to get, say, the Dio ending, do you need to, be friends with Dio? Or,
No, that's not related to it at all.
It's just random shit and then random things
It's just some random shit. It's like, oh, you go through the red door, and then you betray, and then you go through the yellow door, and then you ally, and then you get the Dio ending.
Then you double take 3 times, step on 1 foot, don't forget it.
Exactly. So it's basically just like a minefield of you're picking random things.
What a great game. Alright, go ahead, Dio ending.
Okay. So Dio, Phi, and Sigma are the only ones with more than 9 points on their bracelet. And because Dio is just like an ass, he opens the door so he can escape, right?
Yeah.
And so obviously, Phi and Sigma just go with him, because no reason to stay around with all these other people that are going to die of, like, starvation or whatever, right?
Uh-huh.
And so when they get outside, they have to put on like a pressurized, like a suit and go through pressure difference chambers. Because apparently, like, the Radical 6 is so much infected the Earth that if they don't have these suits on, they're gonna die of Radical 6.
Okay.
But anyways, then it's revealed that Phi can kind of like switch their consciousness through the timelines, and so they already know that Dio is. Dio's backstory is that he's part of a terrorist organization. Okay.
Okay.
And so Phi starts interrogating him,
Is this
and
the
then
same
Dio
one?
tells his backstory from his own perspective.
Is this
What?
just the one that kidnapped Clover and then immediately let her go?
Maybe. Because he is part of the Myrmidons. He's the head of the Myrmidons.
Okay.
But I don't think they saw his face, because if they did, they would have known that Dio was a bad guy, because all the Myrmidons are clones.
Okay.
So this is a terrorist organization made up of... There's this one guy called Brother, and then his brother died, and his brother's name was Left. And so the guy, Brother, made a whole bunch of clones of this guy called Left.
Okay.
And so everyone is left. And I can't help but think that would be a really bad idea for a terrorist organization to make it super obvious who all of your followers were.
And so Dio is one of the left?
Dio is like the head left.
Okay.
And it's great. He describes himself as a hero sent from far away to save mankind.
That sounds about right.
Yeah.
Which he does by betraying everyone all the time.
Yeah, I wrote down in my notes, Dio is part of clone cult. So...
Yeah, okay, that
makes
sounds
sense.
reasonable.
And their motto is free the soul. So they might be connected to Radical 6 because, like, when Quark was infected with Radical 6, he gets infected in a whole bunch of timelines. He starts saying that he needs to free his soul by killing himself, which is what that bio was saying.
Okay.
So anyways, Dio is like a cyber terrorist ringmaster.
And then, if a human soul merges with a monster soul, it becomes really powerful.
Exactly.
But there's no monsters in this game, so it doesn't work.
Yeah.
Unless you count Dio.
Unless you count Dio as a monster. And then he reveals that he planted 4 bombs throughout the facility.
Okay.
And he was going to blow up the whole thing. And for some reason he's like, I'll just give you the code to one of the bombs. So he tells you how to disarm the number 0 bomb.
Okay.
Anyways, so this is when you kind of know that Dio is like some sort of cyber terrorist. Oh, and also, he wasn't actually part of the AB games. He broke into the AB games.
Huh. So there were originally like only 8 people, and then
no, there were originally 9 people, but he broke in and stole someone's bracelet.
Why would he want the bracelet that can kill him?
I don't know.
Okay.
But he blended in as part of the AB games, because apparently his goal was either to win the AB game, or to just blow everything up.
So his thing was, I'm going to plant some bombs in this facility. I'm going to sneak into the facility where I planted the bombs, steal a bracelet that could kill me, and then take part in the game that could kill me so I can blow up the bombs and destroy the facility so it kills me.
Exactly.
Dio's awesome.
Yeah, that's Dio's plan. And that's why I kind of like Dio, because he's just so crazy. Like, none of it makes any sense.
Yeah.
Anyways, so that's Dio's ending. The next is K's ending. K is the guy in all the armor, right?
Yeah.
And this is when... first of all, there's a room that they go into, one of the puzzle rooms, that is like a, it's like a game room, right?
Yeah.
And for some reason it has one of those little, like, kiddie rides that they have, that you put the coin in and, like, it moves back and forth, you know what I'm talking about?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And Kay just rides on those, like, for a long time.
Why would he not?
I know, that's probably the best scene of the game. I have a screen cap of that, so it's pretty beautiful.
Awesome.
It's great, because it's just this guy in this huge, like, bulky suit of armor riding on this tiny, like, kid's ride.
That's awesome. Alright.
Anyways, so Kay... he begins to remember his backstory in this timeline. So, apparently, he was raised in a facility, okay?
Okay.
And his father never really, like, paid attention to him or cared about him.
Was this before or after he started wearing a suit of armor all the time?
This is after. Like, they show a little picture of him as, like, a baby K, and he has, like, armor on.
So I said that as a joke.
No, he was actually wearing armor this whole time.
Sure.
Or at least in the artist portrayal, he was wearing armor the whole time.
Okay, why not?
Of course, right? And then... So... because he read a lot, and he read books, and he realized that he didn't have, like, a mother. Because he only had his dad, who didn't really care about him.
Okay.
So his dad made him, like, a robot mom, but
Sure.
he didn't like it for some reason. I don't know why that was a plot point, but it was, apparently. I'm just reading through my notes here.
It's like Footbot. You gotta throw in a robot for the kids.
Yeah, just give him a robot there. And then anyways, and then a woman comes in to help with the project that his dad is working on, because his dad is, like, a biochemist.
Yeah.
And she begins to act as, like, Kay's, like, mother figure, right?
Okay.
But then in the end they figure out that the research they're doing will end up having to kill this woman who just came in.
Okay.
And so Kay is really, like, angry, right?
Yeah.
But then the twist is that they found an older woman dead earlier in the game, like in just one of the rooms. And that random old woman was Kay's kinda mom.
Okay.
And what happened was Dio killed the old woman to get her bracelet to be part of the game.
Okay.
So then Kay goes and kills Dio.
Alright. So Kay's not mom was going to compete for the game. But
Right.
then Dio snuck in to plant bombs and kill everyone.
Right, and also, yeah, exactly.
Okay.
And then I think at this point, everyone is dead except for Phi, Sigma, and K.
Okay.
But the thing is, if you don't go into a door by a certain time, then you die.
Okay.
And you have to have a certain amount of bracelets to get through the door, because they need to match up to the right color value.
Okay.
And only Sigma had the right bracelets to get through the door. K and Phi couldn't find where Quark went, so they didn't have his bracelets, so they were going to die. They couldn't get through the door.
Okay.
But then he uses the knowledge from Clover's timeline to go and get the medicine that makes people not die, right?
Okay.
And they save Phi, even though it's K's timeline. Phi is the one who saved.
Sure, yeah.
And that, for some reason, there are plot locks in this game where if you haven't seen something in a different timeline, you can't do it. That was like a major plot lock, even though it didn't really have any effect on the rest of the story. Because after that, the only thing that matters is you talk to K right before he's dying.
Yeah.
And then you unlock K's mask, like right before Sigma dies. Because
Okay.
now Sigma, since he was outside, he's also dead because he tried to save Phi. Even though he could have lived.
Okay.
And so you take off K's mask, and it turns out that it's actually Sigma is K.
Okay, I see. I remember that the twist was that K was someone totally unimportant, like he's just a random guy.
Yeah, you were telling me that. No, that's out the window. Sigma is actually K.
Obviously.
And then you die, and so you have no idea what any of this means, and it's super confusing.
Sure, yeah.
Let's see here. Okay, the next ending is Tenmyoji's ending. Okay,
Dude, what if Q in the new game is also Sigma?
Then you take off Eric. He takes off a mask, and he's also Sigma.
Uh-huh.
Everyone is Sigma.
And then the Heart Girl, she also is Sigma.
Except for Sigma himself, who is actually K.
But no, K is Sigma!
Exactly.
Man,
But, no, but he takes off, the Sigma takes
Sigma-
off his face, and he has K's armor underneath.
I was gonna say-
that, and it's Sigma.
Sigma somehow takes off a mask and reveals an entire suit of armor.
Exactly.
And then
That'll
he
be
takes
the
off the
twist.
armor and he's actually fine.
Honestly, that twist would make just about as much sense as what happens in this game.
But he's fine cosplaying as, like, Fred Flintstone.
Fred Flintstone, yeah.
Alright, sorry, go ahead.
Okay, the next ending is Ten's ending, the old guy's ending.
Okay. Old guy ending.
Right. Except it's actually more about Quark. But anyways, so you go through a puzzle room with 10 and Quark because you cured Quark in this timeline.
Okay.
Because you found a cure to Radical 6, which is Excelivir. And so you're going through a puzzle room, and then it turns out that 10 actually has a picture in his pocket of Akane from the first game, who was June, who was also Zero. And also,
Sure.
It's very confusing, but basically, in 999, the two main characters were this guy Jumpy, and then Akane. And Akane was like, it was Zero in that game.
Okay.
So, yeah, he has a picture of her, and that's not explained why. But then, Sigma 10 and Quark, they leave the room, right?
Yeah.
So it's just Sigma, and he sees a hologram of Zero, like the actual person Zero, not
Sigma,
like the rabbit Zero.
Was Sigma... okay, 1 second. Was Sigma in the first game?
Sigma was not in the first game.
Okay, Rabbit Zero.
Oh yeah, I forgot. Did I not mention that?
No!
Okay, so let me go back. At the very beginning of the game, when everyone's getting told the rules, this guy called Zero, he appears on a monitor, right? But it's not a guy, it's actually a rabbit.
Okay.
So, throughout the game, this rabbit AI is Zero, but there's two Zeros. Because there's the rabbit AI, who people call Zero Jr., and then there's the actual person who made the AI, which people refer to as Zero Senior.
Sure.
I probably should have cleared that up. But anyways, Sigma sees a hologram of Zero Senior, who is like a pirate George Washington for some reason.
That's awesome.
He has like an eye patch kind of thing and like a long coat. I don't really know. It doesn't make any sense. And instead of using this opportunity to explain anything, he just talks about termites. So, really good scene right there. I'm not making that up.
I don't know why that's what kills me, but that just kills me.
But anyways, and then so, after the AB game, it turns out that Quark and 10 betrayed Sigma. And so, Quark and 10 can now escape, but... Actually, I think Dio can also escape, but no one else can.
Okay.
So they escape, but Quark leaves behind a letter that talks about their backstory.
Sure.
So this is where you learn...
This will make up for leaving them to die.
Yeah, now they have Quark's backstory. So apparently Quark was like an orphan who was picked up by 10 Myoji. So he's like his father, basically.
Okay.
And 10 Myoji's job is like, he works as a trash collector, like he sifts through garbage and finds anything useful.
Okay.
And apparently there was like this one section that was really controversial in their life because Quark also learned, like Kay did, that he didn't have a mother, like most people do, and so he wanted to like have that experience. But instead of Zero, or like some person did for Kay's timeline, 10 Myoji decides to just give him a root beer float instead of a mother, and that works just fine.
Hey, cheer up, kid. Have a root beer float. Oh, I feel great now.
That actually happened, yeah. That was like the main point of this plot line.
That's awesome.
And then after that, Quark and 10 somehow got into this game together. And that's not really explained at this point why that happens.
Just luck.
But basically all you need to know about Quark's history is that he didn't have a mother, but he got a root beer float, so it's all good.
Oh, man. Okay.
Anyways,
awesome.
These last 5 endings are where everything starts tying together. Like, those were the backstories of a couple independent characters, right?
Yeah.
These start going together.
Okay.
Because next is Alice's ending.
Remind me.
Alice is the mummy, but maybe
the
not
mummy,
the mummy.
but maybe not the mummy. But
Exactly.
probably the mummy.
Basically, oh man, this is a great timeline. Alice comes down with Radical 6, but they manage to put her in a coma before she kills herself, right?
Naturally.
And then Sigma finds a machine that can duplicate the cure. So he can cure both Quark and Alice of Radical 6, okay?
Okay.
And Sigma and I think Luna are going up against Alice in the game. Okay?
Yeah.
And since Alice is unconscious, she's obviously going to ally, right?
Yeah.
And Sigma has one BP, so he allies with Alice. But the problem is, this is true, Alice runs out of the infirmary as fast as possible, picks Betray, and kills Sigma. And that's the end of a timeline.
Why?
This is what I was saying, that some of the choices don't really make any sense. That's not actually Alice's ending, that's the ending right before hers.
Okay.
But that's a thing that can happen. Like, I think they're expecting you to pick Betray there, but you can pick Ally, and then Alice just murders you.
But why would you pick Betray? That doesn't make any sense to pick Betray.
Exactly! And I don't know why Alice was unconscious and then betrayed the person who just saved her life.
Like,
and
it's not
him.
me. It's not me, right? Like, there's really no reason that you'd hit Betray in this circumstance.
Unless you're Dio, there's no reason you'd hit Betray.
I mean, like, for any kind of person in any of these games, it makes infinitely more sense to just hit ally every time. Because for one, you know that in future games people will ally with you, and two, that's the greatest amount of points across both people.
Exactly. But for some reason the characters can't get this across in their head. And that's why it really pisses me off that Alice's big thing is, like, she's a math wizard, right? Like, that's what her backstory is. And because of that, she's always like, oh, if you run the numbers, picking Betray is the best option. And I'm like, no, it's not. You should be smarter than this.
Yeah, it's clearly not the best option.
But anyways, the actual Alice ending comes when you betray her when she's unconscious. And then she runs out and betrays you, and then you get net 0 points.
Okay. Sure, why not? Sure, why not?
Yeah. And then you go talk to Alice, like, in the garden area, because there's a garden area, of course. I mean, why wouldn't there be?
Yeah.
And this is when she reveals her backstory, which is that she wasn't actually an Ice-9 mummy. She was, like, a government operative, okay?
Who was pretending to be an Ice-9 mummy.
Right. And that was her at the end of 999, standing in the desert.
Dude,
but
what if she was so undercover that she actually was the mummy?
That's kind of what I think. I think she
Like,
probably still was the mummy.
Like the mummy itself didn't exist, and as a government operative, she was undercover as the mummy. So, like, she was hidden there in Ice-9 as the mummy.
Maybe. Who knows? But basically, the reason that she was in the desert, it's not explained why she was wearing Egyptian mummy cosplay, but the reason she was in the desert
Because
at
she's
the end of
undercover as the
999
mummy.
Oh yeah, of course. But the reason she was at the desert in the end of 999 is apparently because they had a tip that the AB game that was going on in 999, that nonary game, was actually part of a terrorist plot with the Myrmidons. Because the first nonary game, which was done by the villain in 999, apparently they retconned it so that Ace, who was like the villain in 999, he was actually part of the Myrmidons too.
Oh, okay.
Even though that makes no sense because all the Myrmidons are clones.
No, that's fine, yeah.
And also, he has a disease that makes it so like he can't recognize faces. So he'd be like the worst member of that because he couldn't tell who the operatives were.
Yeah.
So it makes absolutely no sense why Ace would be a part of the Myrmidons. And also, he already said why he did the experiment, so they just totally retconned that. But
sure,
whatever, it doesn't matter.
No one played 999, so it's all good.
Exactly. And then Alice was apparently... She was like a government operative because the Myrmidons captured her father. Okay?
Sure.
And she was trying to, like, avenge her father. I guess. This ending is, like, really, really weird. Oh, yeah. And she was the one who rescued Clover from when she was captured in her backstory, right? So they're related together.
Okay.
Along with Dio was the one who captured her father.
Alright.
And so basically her father is dead. And so they realize, oh, this is where the center is. This is where, like, the head of the Myrmidons is. because like the father, I think like he had a note on him. Oh, he like carved the coordinates of the building into his arm, like right before he died.
As you do, yeah.
Yeah. So then Clover and Alice were going to go infiltrate the Myrmidons, but then got kidnapped. So that's her backstory.
Okay.
And then this is where Dio reveals that he was the one who planted the bombs, because they found bombs in this timeline.
Okay.
And I think it may have been because we had the information from this Dio ending that we knew that he was the one who planted the bombs, so Sigma accused him of planting them, and then he like reveals his whole plan and why he was doing it.
Uh-huh.
But that just pretty much is like the same ending as the other one.
Oh.
Or the same backstory that he gives.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and then Dio cyanides himself, and then all the bombs explode. That's that ending.
Naturally, yeah.
Excuse me.
You're good?
Yeah. Okay, the next ending is...
Actually, it's been about an hour. Can we take a quick break? I need to go brush my teeth.
Alright, that's a good ending. I'm sure this is just riveting, and also no one is listening besides us.
Put in, when you edit this later, put in that little, like, technical difficulties. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, just put in the song. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, do that. Okay, I'll be right back, alright?
Alright, we'll be right back.
There is now an intermission. Please enjoy this beautiful music to pass the time. Do do do, do do do, da da dum da dum. The regularly scheduled podcast will now return.
Right, sorry about that.
Alright, it's no problem. We're back.
Yeah,
where
back.
was I? I was talking about Sigma's ending was next.
We had
right?
just done 5 endings, I think.
Right, so 4 more left.
And we had the one where
The bombs exploded and everyone died.
where who was it? Alice, like, came back to life, immediately betrayed you, and then like, suicided and killed everyone.
Right. Oh yeah, and that was when you learned that Alice wasn't actually the Ice 9 mummy from the previous game. But, like I said, I'm just gonna say that they are, because why not?
In Two Idiots podcast canon, though, she is.
Exactly.
Which is the only canon that matters.
Exactly. Oh yeah, and I think at this point you've learned 3 of the bomb passwords. There are 4 bombs. But you basically, Dio just tells you them in sub-timelines for some reason.
Sure, why not?
Anyways. So the next ending is actually Sigma's ending. You think that would be like the last one, but it's not, it's just a random one.
Sure.
But anyways, Sigma is trying to stop Alice from killing herself because she has Radical 6.
Okay.
And he gets a cut on his hand. But when he goes into the vault, like you go into like a special room with your partner when you're voting, so he goes into the room with Luna and he realizes that he's not bleeding blood, he's bleeding some weird white substance coming out of his hand.
Okay, that's different.
And Luna notices this. And then after everything's done, they go to the garden and talk. And Luna just straight up asks, "Hey, Sigma, are you a robot?" So, that's a good ending. Because apparently...
Wait, that's the ending?
No, that's not
are you a robot? Roll credits?
No, that's not the ending, but apparently the white material is like from the synthetic robot parts. Like,
why does he have robot parts?
For some reason?
Why does he have robot parts?
Well, here's the thing, he doesn't think he does.
Oh.
But then he gets scanned in this like medical machine, and it turns out he has robot arms.
Okay.
That's the plot point.
How do you not know that you have robot arms?
I don't know, but he never remembers getting them. But he has robot arms.
You'd think he'd remember that.
And then the bombs go off and everyone dies. So that's a good ending.
Are you a robot? Robot arms. Okay.
Yeah, it's like, are you a robot? No, I don't think so. Well, let's check. Oh, you have robot arms. Everything explodes.
Amazing.
So, that was paraphrasing, but that's pretty much it. And then the next ending is Quark's ending. We haven't actually had that yet.
Yeah, we had 10...
We had 10's ending.
We had old guy's ending.
So, in this timeline, Quark has gone radical, right? He's infected with Radical 6.
Yeah.
But, what happens is... what happens? Oh, yeah. Dio steals the cure. And
Classic
he
Dio.
has, 6 points. So he's basically bribing Sigma to press ally. So then Dio can betray them. And that's the only way he'll give back the cure to cure Quark.
Okay.
But Sigma's on 1 BP. So
Okay.
basically, the conundrum is either Sigma betrays and Quark dies of Radical 6, or Sigma allies and he dies and also Dio escapes, but Quark can be not poisoned from Radical 6.
How is this a dilemma? Because even if they save Quark, they'll just die in the same area later because no one else can leave.
Exactly. And also it makes no sense because if he just told everyone else besides Dio, they could just tackle him and take it. Because
Yeah.
Dio's like a pretty scrawny guy.
That's true, yeah.
So this ending makes no sense, but
Like they got a dude in armor, just have him sit on him for a bit.
there's actually an ending where Sigma got 9 BP, but then just got punched out by K. They could have done the same thing with Dio. They could have just punched out Dio and took the cure, but for some reason they didn't want to do that. So, for Quark's ending, you have to ally with Dio. Then Dio betrays you and gets 9 BP, and Sigma is dying, right?
Okay.
But then, because you've learned that Sigma has robot arms, what he does is, as Dio opens the number 9 door and
So the
leaves, right?
bracelet thing doesn't kill him because he has robot arms?
No, it still kills him because he has nerves, but robot nerves, but he can still be killed by the bracelet.
Okay.
But as the first part, the part that's supposed to knock you unconscious is settling in, he crawls his way over to the number 9 door as it's closing and sticks his arm through and cuts off his hand
Okay.
so that it can't inject the poison into him. And he can do that because he's a robot, where he has robot arms.
Okay, but if the robot arms have robot nerves, wouldn't they have, robot... That really hurts?
Yes, but he's not dead, technically.
Okay, yeah, I guess so, because, the robot arm bleeding out like a carrot.
Yeah, he's bleeding out like robot blood, but it's not actual blood.
Okay.
And then, this is when you realize, I kind of glossed over this, an old woman, in about 2/3 of the timeline, she was found dead. She was the one that Dio killed to get her bracelet to be in the game.
Again, why did he want to be in the game that could kill him?
It doesn't really make sense. You think he could have just blown up the whole thing, but I don't know. And in this timeline, they examine the corpse, and it turns out that the old woman was actually Akane from the first game.
Who's Akane?
Akane was Zero, and was also June. And they also appear in the third game. And also, Tenmyoji has a picture of young Akane. So, then everything starts to make, no sense. Oh yeah, and she was still the one who helped Kei's father do some biological experiment or whatever. So, Kei is also related to Akane, who
And K is Sigma.
Yeah, Kei is Sigma. So all of this stuff is happening, and apparently Akane is at the center of it again.
Okay. That's exciting.
Okay. Then the next ending is Luna's ending. Which, this ending...
Wait, that was the ending of that ending?
Yeah, that was the ending. Oh, sorry, I forgot that in Quark's ending, Alice goes radical and then kills herself.
Okay, so do they save Quark, though?
They do save Quark. Quark is saved, but they're all stuck in a facility.
Okay, well, at least they saved Quark.
Exactly. And even though it's the Quark ending, it doesn't really have anything to do with Quark, because he kind of gave all his backstory in the Tenmyoji ending.
Sure, why not?
So, whatever.
Honestly, that could have made just as good a Dio ending.
Yeah, just put the Dio ending somewhere.
No, I mean, that one that we just described could have been a Dio ending, because Dio wins.
Yeah, Dio actually totally succeeded in that ending.
Yeah. With whatever his stupid plan was.
Yeah.
He did it.
Anyways, so the next ending is the Luna ending. And this is when they're like, oh crud, we've put all of these mysteries and now none of it makes sense. So we try and spackle it all together.
Okay, that sounds promising.
So, in the Luna ending, you realize that the reason Radical 6 is called Radical 6 is because it's talking about the square root of 6.
Well, obviously it is,
and
yeah.
basically, Radical 6 is a disease that makes it so that when 1 second passes inside, when it feels like 1 second has passed, actually square root 6 seconds have passed, so like 2.4 seconds.
Of course.
So basically, to them, they'd be talking at normal speed, but to an outsider, the person infected would be talking really, really slowly.
Okay.
And I think this is a good time to.
Is that why it makes you really tired? Like you're not actually tired, you're doing things slowly.
I think you do actually get tired, or maybe you just go insane.
Okay.
But you're also doing things really slowly, and then you kill yourself.
Okay.
But I think this is a good time to bring up what a translator suggested the title of this game should be. Because of all of the numbers that go on with it, there's like the 9 door, and you have to add and subtract BP, and there's like the square root 6 seconds.
So is this something? Is this something that is like could have been an official name, or is this like a fan name?
No, this is actually one of the translators, or not one of the translators, one of the localizers wanted to name the series. So it's a Zero Escape series. It's the name of the game is Virtue's Last Reward.
Uh-huh.
They wanted to name the series name Math Adventures. So we could have had the game Math Adventures, Good People Die.
That's the name of the podcast.
Exactly. Super Great Friend brought that up. That wasn't in the game. But, man, what a beautiful game that would have been.
That's amazing.
And then also it would have been retroactively refitted into the first game, so you would have had Math Adventures 999. So no one would have played any of these games.
That's amazing.
So yeah, I think they probably should have went with Math Adventures.
That's totally what we're naming the podcast.
Exactly. That's what I thought the podcast should be named.
Math Adventures, Good People Die. It almost sounds like a two-part phrase, like math is adventuring, and then also good people are dying.
Exactly. Or maybe good people die because of Math Adventures.
Yeah, I love it.
Anyways, so in the Luna ending, you find out that Luna is actually a robot.
Obviously. What?
Yeah. And so
Wow,
the only person that does like anything that would make sense, they always ally. They're a robot.
So was she the one who asked Sigma if he was a robot?
Yes.
So it's like, hey, are you a robot? Because I'm also a robot.
Exactly. And,
who was the one that had like a robot? Like as part of their backstory was like a robot something. Quark, right? He had like a robot mom, or was Quark the one with the root beer
Kay
float?
had a robot mom.
Quark had a root beer float.
Quark had a root beer float. That's right.
Kay had a robot mom. Okay. Gotta get those robots in.
So Sigma and Phi, who are the only two people alive in this time.
In a way, that makes sense because the robot would be the one to be the most logical.
Yeah, actually, it does kind of make sense, but like that's one of the less stupid twists in the game. I think that Luna is actually a robot.
That's terrible. That someone is actually a robot is a less stupid twist.
Yeah, but basically, Phi and Sigma get 9 points, right? But
okay.
Everyone else is dead, except they haven't found Quark's body, so they go and look for Quark because he's still infected in this timeline.
Okay.
And then they find him, and he doesn't have his bracelet on, so they can take him outside the gate.
Okay.
So
how does he not have the bracelet on?
We get to that. That's an even better twist.
Okay. It turns out you can just take these things off.
Well, you're not actually that far off. Anyways, so
they're attached by like they're like clothes pinned together or something, and just no one thinks to take it off.
Yeah, Phi and Sigma are planning to leave and take Quark with them, right?
Okay.
So they open the number 9 door, except Sigma doesn't go; he just stays in the facility.
Why?
Because he wants to talk to Luna, and don't ask me why he didn't just do that first.
Yeah.
But,
yeah, you can do that first.
So Phi and Quark, they leave, and he goes to find Luna, who they thought was dead, but wasn't actually dead, because they were a robot.
Whose ending is this?
This is Luna's ending.
Wait, couldn't Luna have been just left the facility too? Like,
yes.
is that not... Okay.
but she's a robot who works for the facility. She was a part of the AB game project.
Okay.
And
is that what she's the only one who understood the rules of the game?
I think maybe.
Okay.
And also, she reveals that the old woman, Akane, who died in the beginning, was actually one of the main people behind the project.
Okay.
So right now we know that one of the zeros behind the project is Akane, and one of the zeros behind the project is the pirate George Washington we saw in the hologram.
Okay, but wait, you said Akane was old.
Yes,
How
Akane
come
is
the other 999 characters are not old?
We'll get to that.
Okay.
But yeah, Clover is not old.
Yeah.
And Akane is really old.
Okay, sure.
And so Luna basically... This ending is just... They describe everything that happened during the game. Does that make sense?
Okay.
So they just go into excruciating detail, and man, it's really boring. They explain it like 3 times. Basically...
Like what kind of thing do they say?
The gist of it is that Dio killed everyone.
Yeah, I mean, that's not wrong.
It turns out that Luna was a robot who was ordered by Akane to take part in the game.
Okay.
Which then links everything together because Akane was the caregiver of K. So K was also part of making this game, but he doesn't remember because he has amnesia. And so Luna was probably K's robot mom that they made.
Sure. See, I thought of that like a second ago. You remember?
Exactly. That is actually, I think, what the twist is.
All right.
Yeah.
Where does the root beer float play into this?
The root beer float is only mentioned in Quark's ending, or sorry, in Tenmyoji's ending.
I thought that played a bigger role. It sounded really important.
Yeah, you would think, but no, it didn't. But anyways, it turns out that the old woman, Akane, had actually planned to die during this game. Because she knew that Dio was going to come and kill her and try and participate in the game. I guess.
Okay.
So Luna had to take Akane's body and put it in the room that she originally started out in. That Luna originally started out in. So that people suspected of Luna of killing the old woman. But even though she didn't.
Okay. So people thought Luna killed whoever it was?
Yeah. And that's why Clover tried to kill Luna. Because she also thought that Alice died of Radical 6. But Clover thought that Luna killed Alice because Alice figured out that Luna killed the old woman. But that wasn't true.
Alright.
And then Dio and Kay figures out that Dio killed the old woman. But Dio figures out that Kay knows that he killed the old woman. So Dio tries to kill Kay by slamming an axe into the back of his head.
Okay.
But he's in armor, so he doesn't die right away. You would think that it would do anything. Turns out it gets implanted into his neck. They're just going with that. So Kay has an axe in his neck, but still manages to stab Dio with a lance before he dies.
Okay. Sure.
So that's what happened to everyone. And then it's revealed that Luna was the one who took Quark and got his bracelet off. And the way she did this, she just took aluminum foil and slid it between the bracelet and his wrist and then took it off.
What?
That's the twist. You can just take it off with aluminum foil.
What?
Because apparently it detects your heartbeat. And if your heartbeat stops, that means you die and then the bracelet comes off, right?
Okay.
But if you put aluminum foil there, it also blocks your heartbeat from getting to the bracelet, so it just comes off.
Why would it not? Yeah, that's fine.
So the whole time, if they just had taken aluminum foil and put it on the bracelet, they could have taken it off.
Sure. Why not?
And then at the end of this, Luna dies. But actually, but they're a robot, so they're falling apart. Because they went against their orders. Because they were supposed to not tell anyone about the whole games, but they told Sigma about it. So then Luna gets terminated.
Okay.
And then we're off to the last ending, Phi's ending.
The best ending.
Oh man, this ending. Okay. So, in this ending, Fi gets 9 BP, okay? And she tries to leave the facility, but Sigma stops her from leaving by quoting Latin at her.
Makes sense.
So that's the start of this scenario. And then Dio triggers the bombs. And so there's a 30-second timer on the bombs, right?
Okay.
But we have all the bomb passwords. So Sigma and Fi goes around and disarms all the bombs, right?
Okay. In 30 seconds?
30 minutes.
Okay.
Or maybe 45. Whatever, it doesn't matter. They disarm all the bombs.
Okay.
And then they get through the ending, but they get to the puzzle room of the area. And in the puzzle room, they're with 10. So it's 10, Fi, and Sigma are in a puzzle room.
Okay.
And then a hologram of the old woman, who's a Kane, shows up.
Of course.
And then I don't think she really says like that much particularly important, but it's revealed here that Ten Myoji is an old version of Jumpy, the protagonist from the first game.
Obviously.
So even though Clover and Alice didn't age from the first game, Jumpy and Akane did age.
Okay.
So yeah, it's a great ending. But in this timeline, no one's actually found the dead body of the old woman yet.
Okay.
So, Fi and Sigma go back in time to before the game started.
They can do that?
Yes.
Is that just something new that they can do?
Apparently they've been doing it this whole time, but they didn't really remember it. Because they can kind of remember things from different timelines.
Okay.
Like how they remembered all the bomb passwords, but they couldn't just straight up jump before, I think.
So I guess
now they can purposefully do it.
So I guess this is like a clever way of incorporating, like, resetting the game into the game.
Yeah, basically.
But, like, really stupid.
Mm-hmm. So basically they go back in time to before the game starts, and they get out of their room first, and they see Akane being killed by Dio.
Okay.
But Fi just drop kicks Dio, and then he passes out.
Okay.
So Akane is alive in this timeline.
Okay.
And then you go back to the future, back to the Fi ending timeline.
Okay.
And at this point, Fi and Sigma have passed out. Okay.
Okay. Why did they pass out?
But then they re-inhabit their consciousnesses.
What?
I don't just go with it.
Why are they passed out?
Because they sent their consciousness back to when they were passed out before the AB game started.
So they could time travel, but only to when they were passed out.
It's like kind of time traveling. It's like there are two versions of them, and they can just swap which one they're in, kind of.
Oh, why not? Yeah, okay.
But anyways, so they go back into the end of the Fi ending timeline, and now everyone has enough BP to escape.
How?
Because basically there are 3 levels. There's one puzzle room, and then you get a moon card that lets you play the AB game once. And there's another puzzle room, and then you get the sun card that lets you play the AB game once. Then you play the third puzzle room, and then you get the star card, which lets you play the AB game an infinite amount of times.
Why were the first... What? Why? Huh?
It doesn't make any sense. So basically, all that matters is that everyone has more than 9 BP now.
It's like, okay, the first time, once. The second time, once. The third time, whatever.
It's like they didn't want to build any more puzzle rooms, so they're just like, whatever.
Okay, sure.
But anyways, so
I
everyone
feel like...
except... Oops,
I'm sorry, I just want to interrupt. I feel like this takes place some kind of, like, knockoff version of Aperture Science. Like, this is like Chinese Aperture Science, where they kind of, like, half-ass everything.
That sounds about right.
Like, because Aperture Science goes full on with its stupid, terrible ideas, right?
Right.
And it feels like this facility went, like, halfway with its stupid, terrible ideas. Like, it's like, sure, we'll make this game, but yeah, a guy can break into it, whatever.
Yeah, it's just kind of like, it's there.
It's like, okay, well, the third one, we just have it. We don't want to make more puzzles. If the
Yeah.
bracelets come off with aluminum foil, it's fine.
I imagine they spent, like, months designing the bracelet, and then someone mentioned, wait, we can just take these off with aluminum foil. And they're like,
Like, I
no
feel
one will
like,
notice.
like, where Aperture Science would totally over-engineer some kind of, like, bracelet that would, like, kill you, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And it'd be, like, the size of, like, a room or something.
Yeah.
But, like, it would work every time.
This one, no, you can just take it off with foil.
Like when you see a poster with like the original Portal gun, it's like a full like backpack kind of thing going on.
Mm-hmm.
It's like it's totally, but like it works though. Like it's still a Portal gun. It's just really inconvenient, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
I feel like this is like Chinese knockoff Aperture Science.
That's a good that's a good representation, I think.
All right, sorry, you can go ahead now.
But anyways, everyone except Dio escapes because Dio is unconscious, and
Wait.
they chain him to a sink.
Is he unconscious still from that drop kick in the third
No,
game?
not from the drop kick.
That'd have been awesome.
They just beat him up a second time, and now he's unconscious again. This is the Dio gets beat up a whole bunch ending, so it's really good.
Okay, that sounds like a really good ending.
So yeah, Dio is chained to a sink. Everyone else escapes. Okay.
Okay.
And they go to the outside world.
Did they disarm the bombs? Did they disarm the bombs?
They did. All the bombs are disarmed this time.
Darn it! That'd been funny if they like hadn't disarmed them and like chained him to a sink,
It's just like whoops.
like with the bomb.
That would have been funny. But anyways,
Hoisted by your own Picard.
everyone escapes the facility and goes out to the outside world, right? And they see the red moon because it was I think it was a lunar eclipse. But then it turns out that they start seeing a shadow appear on the moon. And that wasn't a red moon, that was the Earth, and they were on the moon the whole time.
Whoa!
Yeah, I know you already heard about that twist, because it was mentioned in VLR, or not VLR, Zero Time Dilemma.
I kind of forgot.
But yeah, they've just been on the moon this whole time.
Okay.
And then 10, who is actually Jumpy from the first game, he describes what happened, right? Apparently, a Radical 6 outbreak happened because of this Mars test site on Earth, and that spread Radical 6.
Is that the same Mars test site in the Zero Time Dilemma?
It's not in 999. I think it probably is the one from Zero Time Dilemma.
I was trying to think of 9 zeros, 9 times, 9 dilemmas, but I forgot the order the words were in.
Yeah, but I think that's where the third one takes place, in that Mars test facility. And basically, Radical 6 spread, and it became this huge outbreak, and everyone was just killing themselves, right?
Okay.
And then, at the end of it, I think they were there's this thing called an antimatter reactor? No, it was an annihilation reactor that apparently used hydrogen and anti-hydrogen to make energy.
Could we name the podcast Math Adventure and whatever was Antimatter Reactor?
Annihilation reactor.
Math Adventure Annihilation Reactor. Would that be a better name?
That may be a better name.
I'm going to go ahead and add Annihilation Reactor to my list of Robot Arena names.
But yeah, that's a good one. But basically, I think there were 15 in the world, and a bunch of people had Radical 6, and so they're trying to commit suicide. And they committed suicide by blowing up all of the reactors at the same time.
As you would do, yeah.
Yeah, and that killed 4 billion people at once.
Okay.
So basically, 10 had been living in nuclear fallout since that time, and that's why the Earth was red, because there was so much particles in the sky.
Okay.
And apparently they'd all been. He had come to the moon because he had been promised that Akane was on the moon, so he went with Quark to the moon.
Obviously, yeah.
And apparently, all of them were actually infected with Radical 6 the whole time.
Okay.
And the reason they didn't notice they were on the moon, the lower gravity on the moon, is because they had Radical 6, so their brains were processing things at a slower power, so they didn't notice things falling slower.
So how did the Radical 6 kill them, if they already had it?
I don't know.
Okay.
But there was that one timeline where everyone died of Radical 6, the first one.
Yeah. Yeah, but don't they get infected with Radical 6 to kill them?
Yes?
How did that work at all?
I don't know.
Okay,
Some people
how about...
Clover or not Clover, sorry, Alice and Quark just try and kill themselves for some reason, even though everyone has Radical 6.
Yeah, I was just saying, how come everyone's not trying to kill themselves also?
Yeah, so that is very confusing.
Okay, so that twist doesn't make any sense at all.
Right. So just add another one to the board.
Okay, just the list of everything doesn't make sense, which is just the entire game.
Right. And then it turns out that in the past, in the alternate history, the old woman had tied a key around Sigma's ankle. So,
what?
Just roll with it. So now they realize, oh wait, we have this key. What can we open with this key? And so they all go back into the facility.
Can they do that? I thought the door locked.
I thought it did, but apparently they really half-assed it because the number 9 door on the bottom level, that only opened once. But there was also a door on the top level that they could just open and close any time.
Could they get to that from inside the game?
Yes.
Why didn't they go out that one?
I don't know.
Okay.
None of this makes any sense, but they go back inside and they open a tombstone with the key.
Obviously.
And this, like, stasis pod comes up, right?
Sure.
And then it has to, like, unfreeze or whatever, right? So there was a time when Kay, he got back his memory and started giving, like, exposition. Apparently, the reason that Clover and Alice were still young was because they were frozen in cryogenic freeze. No, not in Ice 9. Just like in a cryogenic chamber.
Oh, so they weren't. So does Ice 9 ever come up in this game?
No.
Disappointing.
All of the talk about Ice 9 in both of the games was entirely pointless. There was no mummy.
Okay.
So, anyways.
But did Ice 9 sink the Titanic?
It probably sunk the Titanic, you're right.
Okay, at least it did something useful.
But anyways, so the reason Clover was there was because, if you remember, in her ending it was explained that people... She had the ability to, like, access the morphogenetic field.
Sure.
But she was just powering up another person there who could access it more.
Okay.
And then Alice, she was just there to be a calculator. Because
obviously.
Dio's bombs had like an encoded password on them. And so she figured out the encoded password. And then that was the only reason she was there.
I thought you got the password because he told you the password.
You do, but he told you an encoded version of the password.
Oh.
And so, but I mean, it could have just had like a computer and done that, or I don't know, a robot.
No, impossible. Robots are horrible at trying to like encode things.
Yeah, so Alice was pretty much had no reason for being there, besides trying to be like a hook to like, oh, we have the mummy from the first game. So yeah, it was really pointless. And then 10, who was Jumpy, was also there to power up some other person's morphogenetic field. Because he also could access the morphogenetic field.
Sure. Why not?
And then the pod opens, okay?
Okay.
And inside the pod is Sigma.
So there's 3 Sigmas now.
There are 3 Sigmas. There's the one in Kay's armor, there's the Sigma, and then there's the one in the cryopod, okay?
Of course.
And then so Sigma's like, what? How did that happen? But everyone
what the honk honk?
Everyone else is like, wait, I've never seen this guy. Who is this?
Okay.
So then it's revealed, and you've heard this reveal. Sigma is Zero Senior. He's like an old guy this whole time. He was Pirate George Washington.
Yeah. So I knew that is that your character was secretly an old guy. I did not know he was Pirate George Washington, which sounds awesome.
Yeah, so Sigma is actually Pirate George Washington. But that's still... But the thing is, Pirate George Washington is an older version of Sigma. And
okay.
So the Sigma that was in college grew up to be Pirate George Washington.
Okay.
And the other Sigma in the... What?
The whole time you've been playing as Pirate George Washington?
Yes.
Nice.
And the Sigma in the pod is a clone that Pirate George Washington made of himself.
Okay.
And then it gets even more ridiculous because Kate takes off his armor and is actually a Kane.
Okay, first of all, he can just take off the armor?
He found a key.
Okay, second of all, what?
Yeah, exactly. Apparently, in this timeline, Dio was drop-kicked, so he never killed Akane in the first place. So Akane took the clone of Sigma's armor, and was Dio the whole time. And was K the whole time.
Okay, so that one almost makes sense. Akane planned that she would get killed by Dio because she knew he was going to break in, right?
Right.
So, but then she didn't because Fi drop-kicked Dio.
Correct.
So Akane was like, well crap, this isn't going to work now. So she ran over really fast to where Clone Sigma was, and took him and threw him in this like cryopod, and then put on the armor herself. It was like, yep, I'm Clone Sigma.
Exactly. And so you win in 2 out of the 3 major timelines, K is actually the clone of Sigma.
Okay.
And he actually has amnesia. But in one of them, where you don't find the body of the old woman, he's actually Akane.
Obviously. And the Sigma who was going to be in the armor just got thrown in the tombstone cryogenic pod.
Right.
Okay.
And then so the plan is revealed that the whole point of the game was to teach Phi and Sigma how to travel, like how to make their consciousness travel through time.
Obviously.
And so the plan is that they take Sigma's consciousness from the day that he was kidnapped at college, and they bring it up to the old person Sigma's body. Okay?
Okay.
And he plays the AB game and learns how to control the time travel.
Okay.
And then the Sigma that played the AB game goes back in time to just after the explosions of the Annihilation reactors.
Surely you want to go before the explosions, right?
Not yet.
Okay.
It gets better, because first, to make it a closed loop, he has to build the AB game.
Oh,
so
obviously.
Sigma has to go back in time and spend 45 years building the AB game.
Okay. It sounds like you could throw this thing together in like a week, though.
I don't know. I mean, you'd have to build robots and make a clone and everything, so I mean, it'd take a while.
I guess so. But you're from the future, so you just can like look at the blueprint and be like, oh, that's how I do it.
Right. But basically, and then the plan would be, once Sigma has all the knowledge of like biochemistry and cloning and stuff like that, then the Sigma right before the AB game starts swaps with the Sigma from college. So now the college Sigma has all the knowledge of old Sigma.
Okay.
And so old Sigma can go and stop this Radical 6 virus from spreading.
Okay.
That's the whole idea of the experiment.
And that's why in Zero Time Dilemma, Sigma's like, yeah, secretly I'm an old guy.
Yeah, he's just outwardly about it. And Phi also is apparently traveling through time, but she doesn't have to live the 45 years because she's not actually making the AB game.
Okay.
So she's just in stasis, and that's why she's still young in the events of VLR.
Okay. Sure.
And it's not revealed at all why Phi is important to any of this.
How did they bring Sigma's conscious from kidnapped from college to old guy?
I think they frightened him because a guy with a gas mask was trying to kidnap him, and so his mind was like, oh, I should leave. And then old Sigma kind of slingshotted his mind into young Sigma and forced young Sigma's mind out.
Obviously, yeah.
I think. But
Why
anyway,
not?
so that happens. And then... Oh gosh. Oh man, there's one more part. That's the end of the game, technically, when you learn all that, I think.
Okay.
But if you play everything... Oh, sorry, I forgot about... Also, apparently, old man Sigma lost his arms, and that's why he has robot arms. And he lost them in the Mars test site. So probably at some point during the events of Zero Time Dilemma, Sigma's gonna lose his arms.
Man, I can't wait to see that animated, because the animation of that game is amazing.
Yeah, so that'll be something to look forward to.
Alright.
Anyways, so then, because we played all the rooms on hard mode, we got a special ending where you were playing as the clone of Sigma.
Okay.
And
So
the clone of Sigma, you're
you were
right.
in the-
What?
You were in the suit of armor then?
No, you're not in the suit of armor. This is after the events of the Phi ending. So this is the clone of Sigma after he awakes from cryostasis. And after Sigma's mind had been shot back to right before the Annihilation explosions.
Okay. So what time are you at right now?
You are at,
Also, why do you need a clone of Sigma?
I don't know. Sigma just kind of made it.
Okay.
Anyways. So you are past all the events of the actual game. So the
Okay.
AD game is over. And now people are beginning to leave. That's where you awake as K. Or as Kyle. His name is Kyle. The clone is Kyle.
Okay. I did actually think I remembered that the K's name was Kyle, but I thought he was just some random unimportant guy.
No, he is very important.
Is he though? Because like, Clone Sigma doesn't do anything.
Right, it really doesn't.
So he's really not that important. It's just like, oh.
Well, anyways, Kyle, you talk about with other characters, and it's just kind of like an epilogue. They don't really say anything important.
Okay.
Ten and Quark are just going to go back to the ruined Earth and drink more root beer.
Sounds good.
Clover and Alice are apparently, they figured out a way to send their bodies back in time, which I didn't think they could do. I thought they could only send their minds back in time.
It's this game. It doesn't matter.
But apparently they're just going back in time because of Schrodinger's cat, apparently. I don't
Okay.
know.
Sure.
And then you get to talk to Akane, who's the old woman who's behind everything, right?
Okay.
And it turns out that while you're playing as Kyle, you're not actually playing as Kyle.
Yeah, why would you be?
Right, because Kyle, the clone of Sigma, his mind was also sent back in time along with Sigma and Phi.
Okay, where did it go?
To infiltrate the Mars mission.
But where did his go? There wasn't a clone Sigma then.
Right, and that's why it makes no sense.
Oh.
Some random guy's conscience then inhabited the clone Sigma, Kyle's body.
Oh, so it's just like, it just picks someone at random. It just...
Yeah, and you don't know who it is, but apparently this guy has to also learn how to stop stuff from happening and go save the world, and you have no idea who it is.
Okay.
But what I'm getting at is that probably one of the people in Zero Time Dilemma are actually Kyle.
Okay,
Even though they look nothing like Sigma.
Because it would just be the mind switching, not the body.
Right.
I bet it's Q.
Q would make sense. I almost want to say, like, Eric, because I don't, like, he's one of the characters that I think people would least expect something like that from. But it'd probably be easier to do it with Q.
I was gonna say the girl whose name I forget what it is, the Heart Girl.
Oh, the crazy heart girl?
Yeah, because I thought that'd be the funniest of the three for it to be.
Yeah.
But I bet it's Q. If they're going with that, I bet it'd be Q.
But yeah, so that's the ending of the game.
What a great ending.
Basically,
So,
the ending of
not
the game
only
is
did they-
literally like, I wonder what happens next. You should buy our next game to find out.
What happens next? You decide. Thanks for reading.
Gosh, so that's the
Please
game.
buy my book. I am poor.
I guess I'll tell
What a
you
game.
my opinion on it. I just watched it on Super Great Friend, like I said. I didn't actually play it.
Uh-huh.
It seemed like if it had an editor, it would be kind of good, because the story is just batshit insane, right?
Yeah.
But the problem is they try and explain it like too much. They go into too much detail about random stuff.
And not enough on the other stuff, it seems
Yeah,
like.
exactly. It's really weird because there are also gold files that you get in the game that you can get for like doing extra stuff. And the writers of the gold files seem to be a lot like better than the actual game writers.
I wonder if that's like that was like an additional thing they added like towards the end, you know? So like they had someone better writing it by then.
I don't know, but like they had a couple on like the rules of the AB game, and it's like they did it really quick, and I was like, thank you for doing that quickly and not like 2 hours as in the actual game. So yeah, I think definitely if they had an editor, I think it would have been pretty interesting, just because you want to see what stupid twist there's going to be next.
Yeah, that's kind of how I felt about it, but then I just couldn't sit through it because it was so long.
Yeah, I took the pledge, I took the hit, and so you now don't really have to see it. That's all the spoilers. Is there anything that I'd left that I forgot to say?
I don't know. I wasn't really listening.
Yeah, that's probably good. Because so much random crap happened in this game.
Wow.
And they actually pretty much had an answer for everything, except who Fi was and who Kyle was at the end. But it just, didn't make any sense.
But, the answers were kind of things that, can you do that?
Yeah. They had a really, really long flowchart for what the plan of the AB game was with, Sigma's consciousness. That Fi ending itself took about, 3 hours. And I just I was really long-winded about it, but that was still, an abbreviated version.
I mean, I think you did pretty good, because we got it done, an hour and a half.
Yeah, we got a pretty good time on that. I thought it would take a little bit longer.
Alright, so, yeah?
But yeah, my final opinion on it, I thought, I don't regret having watched and play it, but I definitely don't think I can, really recommend it to too many other people, just because it's such a time commitment,
Yeah, and it's for sure. So let's do it. I think is that basically all you have to say on the game?
Yeah, that's basically all I have to say.
All right, let's do a quick. Let's close out the podcast with a bit of a debriefing and talk about Realms of the Haunting.
Oh, that's a good idea because I also saw a little bit of that.
Yeah, did you watch the whole thing?
Yeah, I watched Ross's Game Dungeon playthrough.
Yeah, Ross's
Super
Game
Great Friend
Dungeon,
also did one, but I didn't watch the whole thing.
Yeah, not Super Great Friends. This is kind of long, but just the Ross's Game Dungeon one. Because I thought Ross did a really good job with it. What did you think?
I agree. That game, it looks really strange.
It is.
It looks definitely a very dated, and I see what he was saying. The genre just swaps halfway through.
It totally does. In the Super Great Friend playthrough, it's a bit more gradual because he shows you everything. So, which is good. I really like his format that he did because he does he had the main Let's Play. He has supplementary videos where he'll read out the files and all this mess. So you can kind of just ignore those if you don't really care.
Right.
But in his version, it's a lot more gradual. So it's less suddenly it's a fantasy game, and more it gradually switches between the two. But when you look at it like Ross did, it's totally okay, why am I doing this in a survival horror game?
Yeah. It looked, the combat seemed really annoying in it, though. That was one thing that I noticed.
Super Great Friend opened the Let's Play by talking about how he, remapped the controller specifically to play Realms of the Haunting.
Yeah, that's probably a good idea, because it looks like you need to be. What was it? You had to, press both the mouse buttons at the same time?
Yeah, it was
to
nuts.
actually get the right control scheme?
What did you think of the characters in the game?
I liked a guy in t-shirt who just told you everything.
That's totally his costume too. It's just guy in t-shirt. They just I guess right out of
Yeah, there was Belial, who just killed you in that one ending.
I thought he was pretty good though.
Yeah, I thought he was cool. What did the girl do? I didn't really get that from
nothing.
Okay, yeah, I didn't really get that from Ross's perspective because
you know how
she didn't do anything.
Sometimes you have in the Paper Mario games how your first partner will tell you the stats of all your enemies.
Yeah,
that's what Rebecca does.
Oh, okay. Good to know.
So Belial, you know how this is something that's actually kind of I think this is a really cool thing about Belial's character. He was actually pretty good, right?
Right.
That Ross didn't touch on at all. You know how he was wearing those glove things?
Yeah.
When he grabbed the thingy.
What thing?
When you saw him in the chamber where you could either get the real sword or the fake sword.
Right.
And you gave him that thing and then ran away.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so in the game, to be able to hold that thing, I think they call it the Shrive, you need to have the symbols on your hands from the bone chair.
Oh yeah, I remember the good guy bone chair.
So Adam has the symbols on his hands because he sat in the bone chair. But only certain people can get the symbols. Okay,
Mhm.
so Belial, being like a demon guy, can't do that. Okay,
Mhm.
so what he did was he got a whole bunch of people sit on the throne. Okay,
Mhm.
and get partially branded by the thing. Okay,
Oh, okay.
and then he took the bits of their hand that were branded and stitched them all together into like a glove.
Whoa, what?
Yeah, and then that actually worked to hold it, which I thought was actually like kind of clever because it's like it's the prophecy thing is like, oh yeah, only the person with the brands on their hands can hold the thing, right?
Mhm.
And he's like, yeah, I can do that, you know?
Yeah, that's a way better twist than just a bracelet coming off with aluminum foil.
Yeah, like I thought that was actually a really good way to show like his thing, like he's like, he will do whatever,
Mhm.
and also a really clever way to like do a sort of prophecy subversion kind of thing. Where it's like, yeah, hands, brand on them, there you go. Yeah.
Yeah, it technically counted.
Uh-huh. And Ross didn't really cover that at all, but I thought that was kind of neat. What'd you think of Florentine?
Who was Florentine? Just like the guy with the mustache who was like
Florentine
totally
was mustache evil guy, yeah.
Yeah, he was good. Did he have any more character development? And
No.
did you watch Super Great Friend play this?
Yeah.
Okay, I thought you did. But he
Florentine's
didn't have
character-
any more character development besides he was evil.
His character was basically, I'm gonna summon the evil guy and destroy the world! Hey!
I
speaking
want
of
to know, was there any context behind that puzzle where you put on the armor on your arm and then walked across the room and didn't make a sound?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Um,
Because, man, that was so stupid.
I can't remember, but I don't think there was. And then the guy that Ross called Bobby, that was Gaul, which Hawk and Gaul are the two like angel things they're gonna fight.
Oh, okay.
Ross didn't really explain that, and it didn't really matter at all. But
Who was that? I don't remember that guy.
Bobby, he was the one who did like a card trick and like sealed the door and then did nothing.
Oh, okay, yeah.
He was Gaul. He was the angel of like death, and then like Hawk, the guy in t-shirt, is the angel of life.
Obvious Angel of Light costume.
And
Guy
seriously,
in
like
t-shirt.
in like the supplementary video, I think Super Raven just asks Hawk like every question you can, and the video's like super long because it's literally just like we haven't answered any questions yet. Let's just answer all of them.
Yeah, this is like here's a big old info dump for you.
Uh-huh. Yeah, I thought it's a neat game, but it's really weird. For sure.
That ending though, that was so stupid.
Where everything blew up.
No, the ending where he was in the hospital and it was a dream the whole time.
Yeah. So my thought on that is that he tried to tell someone this story, and they thought he was insane.
Oh, okay.
Rather
That actually
than,
makes more sense, doesn't it? Rather than like, oh, he was just insane the whole time.
and the doctor looks like Belial because reasons. I don't know.
Yeah, like they did the whole hint with like and like the nurse was the woman from the game, right?
Well, you didn't really see her face, though, did you?
I thought you did.
I don't think you do. I don't remember.
She was just wearing glasses, though, right?
I honestly don't remember. I would have sworn that you never saw her face.
Huh. I thought you did at the end, but maybe I'm wrong. Look at the
That-
end of the Accursed Farms video. See if it's in there.
I'll do it later. That's my thought, is that he told the story of this event, and people thought he was insane and threw him in like an insane asylum.
That
Because
actually makes a lot more sense. Yeah.
Because yeah, I think that is a better ending than it was all like made up story,
Mhm.
and I think it makes more sense than it was all a made up story.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, I mean, really, there'd be an easy way to check if you could ever see his hands, right?
Actually, yeah, that's a good point.
But I don't think you ever get to see them.
No,
Okay.
you definitely don't see his hands. You just see like the slits of his eyes, right?
Yeah. So that's my thought on the ending of the game.
Yeah, I agree with you now. I've switched my opinion. I think you're right.
Also, that one scene where it's like they're about to fight, and then just suddenly you're in prison.
Yeah, it's just like, oh, there's about to be a big. Oh, wait, what?
That totally happens like that too. Like it's super great, but it even makes fun of how like abrupt that was.
don't have the budget to actually show a fight here.
Did you like how the tower was not a tower at all?
What?
Like, the tower was the realm where it connects everything with, like, a bunch of bridges and there's no tower.
Oh, yeah. I
And
forgot
also-
that was called the tower.
There's a thing called the Ire, which is built up in, like, the backstory of the game,
Mhm.
where so Florentine was trying to cross the, tower, okay? And he and his men were getting attacked by, like, a smoke beast called the Ire that would patrol the tower, okay?
Mhm.
And it's built up to be like, especially like before you ever go to the tower, it's built up to be like this like big threat, you know? Like if it sees you, you're pretty much dead. It's not in the game at all.
Oh, it's just not there?
Yep. And then there was like a character called like the Deserter or something, who like was one of Florentine's men and like they stayed in the tower or something. You know that random boss fight at the end?
Oh yeah. Uh-huh.
That's supposed to be this deserter guy, who's brought up in a couple documents at the start of the game, completely forgotten about it, and he just shows up there.
Oh, of course?
My thought is that they wanted to have it, like, the Ire chase you around the tower, more or less, but didn't either due to gameplay or just budget reasons.
Yeah.
And then this boss fight at the end was going to be the Ire getting sucked into the real world, so it was powered down so you could fight it. Which would have made sense, because previously it'd be like an invincible sort of foe, you know?
Yeah.
But then they didn't do that, and it just didn't make sense at all.
Sounds about right.
Right, that's all I had on that game. I think that was a good episode of this podcast.
Yeah,
That
I actually saw that game, so I didn't need to go into everything. I hope you weren't too bored by VLR chat.
It was exciting. I enjoyed it. I'm glad I know the story of it now, even though I've completely forgotten every part of it.
Yeah, I kind of want to, or I'm really excited to see the ending of the Zero Time Dilemma, because I just want to see, there has to be some sort of ridiculous, stupid twist at the end.
I want to see where it goes, yeah. Apparently Zero Time Dilemma is shorter than the other two, so that's
Yeah,
kind of
one
good.
thing about VLR, it was way longer than 999. And 999 was a freaking long game.
Yeah, that's something. Any closing thoughts for the podcast?
What did we talk about? We did Pokemon Go chat, we did a lot of VLR stuff, and then ended up with Realms of the Haunting, was that it?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, the special anniversary edition.
Yep. Do you have
No,
anything?
I think that's it.
Alright, I will talk to you again in a year.
Exactly. We never chat besides this podcast, so.
Obviously not, yeah.
Alright, well that's the end.
Alright, see you later, shitlord.
Thank you for listening.